Hello, 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 ladies and gentlemen. Hope you guys had a good night tonight. Enjoyed that massive blowout. Back-to-back second-round games, just massive blowouts. If you don't know who I am, my name is Shook. I make videos for NBA. I also cover other stuff. All these videos get posted right here on this subreddit. It's called DF Sports. You can ask me questions, stuff like that. I'll always reply to you. And if you ever need to get a hold of me privately, you can do so on Twitter at Tory Langley 1992. So unfortunately, well, broke even. Because I had this windmill I didn't cash in, but Showdown went very well. Played cash games. I just threw it in a tournament too. Went with Michael Green captain. Once we got news Michael Green was starting, he was just the best value play on the slate. He was underowned in my opinion. Way underowned in my opinion. He should have been like probably 70% owned. In my opinion, he was just underowned. He was the best value play on the slate. And then obviously I went with him in the captain to jam everyone else in. 80 had an underwhelming game. I really needed him on the 2-game slate. Just unfortunate there. Plus the blowout. I mean, he was doing okay if he got that full fourth quarter, but nothing crazy. And then LeBron was just good for the time he played. Draymond was phenomenal. Jordan Poole picked up 5 fouls in 17 minutes, and then the game blew out big enough they just went with the full garbage lineup. So he didn't get his normal run due to foul trouble, plus the massive blowout. And the core that I have for today was Steph Curry, JaMychal Green, Anthony Davis. Core smashed, as per usual. What won this? No AD. So that's cool. So yeah, good day on Showdown, but a break-even day overall because I did not cash in the $180 tournament. If you guys want to see my lineup, here was my lineup. Just blowout. Absolutely killed me. What was the cash line? 226. I had a chance if it stayed close, I think. Maybe not. Probably not, but doesn't matter anyway. I'm fine with the break-even day. If you guys are interested in joining my Discord, I'll have a link to that down below. I have in-depth content going over each slate. I have player pools like for cash and tournaments and stuff like that. You can talk to a bunch of people in Discord, ask me questions all day long. I'm literally there probably 15 hours a day, probably. I'm always in Discord. If you have a question, I'll literally answer it within 30 seconds. I'm there every minute, past like 5 p.m. Eastern time, up until like 4 a.m. For the next slate, the next day. So, in there a ton. That'll be linked down below. And let's go over this slate. All right, let's do it. So, Tatum and Brown at the top. Now that Tatum is sub 10K, I prefer him to Brown, but I think both are solid plays once again here. Tatum just got a massive foul trouble last game, plus the blowout. Played 19 minutes. It was his first game scoring under 10 points, I believe, all season long. Just absolutely wild there. But I think it'll keep his ownership down. I think everyone's going to go to Booker. I think everyone's going to go to Kevin Durant and stuff like that. So I think Tatum's a good tournament play. I think Jaylen Brown's a good tournament play too. Now, the interesting part here is the pricing with the Boston guards. So they're all too cheap. They're just all way too cheap in my opinion. Not way too cheap, but they're all just too cheap. So assuming Brogdon keeps getting a similar rotation of around 30 or so minutes, he's my favorite. He's just the best point per minute guy between the three. And if he's going to play around 30 minutes, kind of like what Smart and White are doing, I just prefer him to those three guys. So I like Brogdon a lot. I like Smart and White too, though. I think White at 4.9K is a pretty good value play. It's just too cheap, man. It's too cheap. I know he's the riskiest right now in this matchup, but it's too cheap. So I like White. Smart at 5.2 has a very safe floor. Once again, too cheap, so I like him quite a bit. I just like all these Boston guards, man. I don't know if I'd play all three together. I probably wouldn't. I'd probably max 2 of that group, but all three are just pretty good plays to me. And Al Horford at 5.3 is just very safe. I think we get around 30 or so minutes from him. Like I said in the previous Atlanta game, his production is very bad in that matchup. As you see, only 7 to 5 shot attempts. In this series, you can see his shot attempts are up. They're going to have to go through him a bit more. So he's had 8 and 10 shot attempts in a blowout the last 2 games. So I don't think that's something the field has picked up on. So um, hours and hours of research paying off here. So I think Al Horford's solid as well. Robert Williams, I think we get, 22-ish minutes, which makes him a solid value play at 4-6. I have a feeling he'll be relatively popular tomorrow. So like I like all these Boston guys. And then the surprise case here, well, not surprised. I actually thought they needed Grant Williams a bit more, but let's take a look at the rotation together. Obviously, he played blowout. And I believe Brogdon was the one to come in for Tatum when Tatum got into foul trouble. Let's look. Who came in when he picked up a foul there? Yeah, it was Brogdon. So it wasn't even Grant Williams picking up minutes due to Tatum foul trouble. He might have gained like minutes because of Tatum foul trouble and him sitting and them having to extend it. But it looks like Brogdon was the one to come in for Tatum when he did get into foul trouble. So I think they're going to need Grant out there, and I think he's probably going to play over 20 minutes. So it's very scary because he's been basically a DMP, but I think they're going to have to play him probably 20 or so minutes, maybe a little bit more, which unfortunately makes him a good value. So I do like Grant Williams for value. Now, is there a chance he goes back to barely playing? I think so. So if he's going to be Giga Chalk, I think you could definitely get away from it. But as we're talking about it now, and without looking at like ownership projections and stuff like that, yeah, I think Grant Williams is a solid value, which is weird for me to say. Joel Embiid at the top, I fully expect him to play here. Not must win, but they got to win, in my opinion. So Embiid at the top, I really don't know what his health is. He did not look right out there. He did only play 27 minutes. He's had 2 days to rest. I don't know what his health is. So he's strictly just going to be a tournament only play for me. But if you give Embiid full run, at 10.2K, I'm always going to have interest for tournaments. So I think he's very, very interesting for GPPs, but obviously very, very risky with the injury. So only a GPP play for me. James Harden at 8.7K, I think it's just like fine. He's there for me. No, I don't hate it. I don't love it. I think it's just like pretty safe as long as this game stays close. I think James Harden's going to come out a lot more aggressive. Personally, for me, if I think the Sixers have a chance of winning this series, James Harden's got to play like he did in Game 1. He's just got to be more aggressive. They gotta play a lot faster and stuff like that. So I think Harden's fine. Just like I said, don't love it, don't hate it, but I think he'll come out a lot more aggressive. With Embiid in, Tobias Harris, Tyrese Maxey, more secondary plays. I do prefer Maxey to Tobias Harris, but no strong takes there. They're just like fine for me if I land on one as like a last piece in, but do prefer Maxey. No, I'm not playing Paul Reed at 4.7K. DeAnthony Melton, I think we get around 20 or so minutes from him. A reasonable value play at 4.1K. We'll talk about some other value plays in this game, but a reasonable value play there. And then PJ Tucker, I think we get, 25 to 30 minutes from another playable value that I'm not excited about. Let's go over this game. So Jokic has just been absolutely phenomenal. And one thing to note here is I know he's priced up from where he was, and not really. But one thing to note here is during the regular season we saw Jokic attempting like 15 to 20 shots a game. Look at his shot attempts in the playoffs. 26, 29, 21, 30. 30 shot attempts. That's going to hurt his assist numbers, but I don't care. If Jokic is going to continue to shoot, let's say 24 plus times, I mean, he looks phenomenal to me. And if he's going to be low owned because everyone's going to slam Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, I like him even more. So love Jokic here at the top. I think KD, Booker, those guys more optimal, but I think Jokic looks great. Point per dollar, I might prefer Jamal Murray to Jokic. I think Murray's just optimally. I think Jamal Murray fits better into lineups with a cheaper price tag, but I really like Jokic. I really like Jamal Murray too. Had a really, really bad game last game. Got to throw that game out the window. Can't have recency bias in DFS. Price came down. He's too cheap. He's been phenomenal in the playoffs, except for that last game. His assist numbers are up as well. He's going to stuff the stat sheet. Pretty high floor if he doesn't shoot 0 of 9 from 3. So I think Jamal Murray looks very good once again. Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., like kind of the same with like Tobias Harris, Tyrese Maxey. They're just like there for me as like filler plays. Michael Porter Jr. got benched, got played off the court. I don't know if that happens again, so he's very, very risky, but definitely a chance of it happening again. So I prefer Aaron Gordon to MPJ. Aaron Gordon's going to play all the minutes he can handle as long as he can stay out of foul trouble guarding KD. So I think he's very, very safe at 6K. KCP, Bruce Brown, I think both are reasonable values. The thing here with is sometimes they'll close with Bruce, sometimes they'll close with KCP. KCP, they closed with last game, but previous games they weren't closing with him. So you saw him get up to 41 freaking minutes here. But Bruce Brown did also get into massive foul trouble. So I think that helped it a little bit. So KCP, Bruce Brown, I'm just going to go to whoever's lower owned. Now, if I knew Bruce Brown would close, it would just be Bruce Brown all day long. Just such a better point per minute guy that's going to stuff the stat sheet and stuff like that. So, going to come down to ownership for me on those two guys, but both are reasonable value plays. I think I prefer Bruce right now, preferably. I'm not playing Jeff Green. I'm not playing Christian Braun, any of those guys. So, Chris Paul out, so my guess is Cameron Payne is going to be moving into the starting lineup. But there are other things they could do. They could start Craig and Okogie together. They could start Damian Lee and stuff like that. So there are other things they could do. But I would guess Cam Payne starts here, so we're going to go over it like that. So if that's the case, you're just going. They're down 0-2, I believe. You're just going to see Kevin Durant and Devin Booker probably aren't going to leave the game. They're probably going to rest for like a minute. 2 minutes. They look phenomenal to me. I absolutely love Kevin Durant. I absolutely love Booker. I mean, Booker's ball handling is going to go way, 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 way up with no Chris Paul. His potential assists are going to go way, 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 way up as well, which raises his floor, raises his ceiling. So I absolutely love Devin Booker. I think KD is really, really good too. His ball handling is going to go up as well. They both look great to me. It's tough because you're going to have to make some tough calls in this slate. DeAndre Ayton, as long as he can stay out of foul trouble, I think is solid at 6.5K. Don't love it, don't hate it. If he was still like 6'2", I would like him a lot better, but just there for me. And assuming Cam Payne starts at 4.8K, he's the best play on the slate. I will not be fading a 4.8K Cam Payne starting at the point. He's a good point per minute guy. He'll have the ball in his hands a decent amount. I'm just not going to do it. He'll be massive, massive chalk, but that's chalk I'm fine eating. So assuming he starts, I absolutely love him. Damian Lee at 4K probably gets a bit more run too. I think he's playable for value. And then whoever starts between Craig or Okogie, I prefer. So, like, if Okogie keeps starting, I prefer him. If Craig starts, I prefer him. But both might see a little bit more run as well. So, they're viable. Now, if they go with a different lineup, like if they start Craig and Okogie together, then I like both for value. But I still think Cam Payne probably going to get decent run off the bench, making him a solid value regardless if he starts or not. So I like Cam Payne regardless. Yeah, so I think that's all we have. Would I be shocked if you saw like Ross and these guys? I don't know. It's hard to say. So I'm just going to stick with this grouping right here. They're not going to be DFS viable anyway. So I think that'll do it for the video, guys. I hope you guys had a great night tonight, and I'll talk to you all tomorrow.